I screwed up on the recording, and we're going to try to do a shorter version of this endgame summoner build, um, where I don't explain as much. Um, yeah, check your mic before recording, and don't shove the mic up my mouth or nose, because I love doing that. So we have Exaflare-based summoner. We're going to use the demonologist version of summoner, even though you could use either one, and try to keep this video short. The way we need to burn max MP in order to get to the Exaflare quickly, or trigger a soul shield. So Cyclic Warrior 600%, every Lightbringer triggers a soul shield. Uh, Void Knight 400%, reduce the cost of the Lightbringer. Void Knight 120 and 50% to get more max MP during a soul shield. Evoker 50% and 120%, get more max MP as a bug, but reported it twice, didn't get fixed. It's been a year, now it's a feature. But when you use Cyclic Warrior 600%, Evoker 120%, and 50%, recover Jack's max MP. Not just his regular MP, his max MP. Um, and then, just to kind of complete the loop on that topic of infinite Lightbringer spam, we have the Leviathan Primary Blessing, so successful soul shields. Let me just pull that up on the screen. Nope, I don't actually have it anymore. Anywho, um, uh, every soul shield you do recovers even more max MP, and then we're going to have max MP limit boost rate on our master points, category 4. But let's look at other things that's going to make this build work for us if I can just figure out my buttons. We have Summoner 600% from our master points, even more for intellect. Doubles the effect of Leviathan, 400% refreshes the buff rate, pardon me, refreshes our buffs every time we soul shield or Lightbringer. 250% reduces the cost, MP cost and max MP while being in dragon form. Black Mage, 400%. Every time we do that Exaflare, that non-elemental magic damage increases our max MP, and then the 600% every time we do a soul shield, we get a little bit more intellect. The Void Knight 600%, just a convenience for me for the haste, get the Exaflare animation a little faster, get out of it so that we can actually survive. And then the Hunter 400% is my personal preference to get MP back, flat amount of MP based per hit, and Exaflare is about 25 hits. The Sage 250, I'm sorry, 120%, and the 50% for the Soul Shield MP recovery, so that every time I use a Lightbringer, I get regular MP back so that I can keep up with my summon form. Gear effects. Damage dealt summon. I chose to use Seal of Blood, so I have improved effect Seal of Blood, Intellect, and Remove on every single piece of gear. I do have status ailment resistance, enough to get 100% on my gear, and damage taken at max HP, also enough to get about 100% on my gear. So that we'll keep going. But yeah, I don't like getting silenced because I can't Exaflare or go in the summon form, and I don't like paralysis or petrification because it leaves me vulnerable to death. Um, Ideally, I would want it during Lightbringer damage dealt and non-elemental damage dealt across all of my gear. It didn't have that, so some of my pieces of gear I just grabbed things that I thought were useful, like Lightbringer uh, duration and magic damage dealt. But let's just flash across all of our gear, just in case. And then because it's an endgame build, I do have badges for Bahamut and Leviathan. Bahamut for more stats. That gets doubled with Summoner 600%, so an extra 40 intellect once I have all of my Soul Shield stacks up. Leviathan, if I don't have a Leviathan badge, then one of my pieces of gear would be Leviathan. And the remove is here because I want the intellect that it brings out. Command abilities, Seal of Blood, in order to make that Exaflare hurt a little bit more. And then the Sentinel is one of my safety nets. It's my second safety net in addition to Lionheart. The Invincible, during Dimension Bringer, I get to survive at least one hit. Sentinel, if that one hit wasn't enough, then I might get to last a second, third, or fourth hit before I get broken. Lunatic, increased attack speed. Dimension Bringer, because a lot of enemies at this point move around, and I need them to stay put for the full Exaflare to go off. second job. The big things here were the Red Mage 250% to reduce the charge time, the Samurai 250% because I like to chain cancel, get a damage boost, and the Gambler 120% because I like to chain cancel and get some max regular MP back in a slow rift. Pardon me. Or if I ever decide to co-op on this build or the world map. Summoner 120% also for the world map when you chain cancel, just as a convenience. And anything else is a duplicate or an overlap of the Lightbringer spam build. But because this is actually a Sentinel buff bot, we have Monk 400% for more max HP, and then we also have the Muscle Belt, also more max HP. It's the only accessory that works like this, that stacks with itself. Reported it twice, nothing happened. Now it's a feature. So you get an extra 100% max HP as a result of these two things. And then I happen to have Leviathan primary badge blessing just in case. Gear effects, improved effect focus, and improved effect sentinel. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. So Monk is here because Monk Master, that charge, even though it says break damage dealt, that's also regular damage dealt. So charges up to 4 stages. It's pretty powerful. Not as powerful as the Hunter Analyze for physical builds, but it's still good for magical builds and break damage builds. So we have improved effect sentinel and focus light and HP on every single piece of gear, as well as Titan, to get even more HP out of these gears. And because this armor was for a different gear set, we have Lightbringer duration and buff duration as well. So just kind of that heads up. Oh, pardon me. And I guess while I'm here, we're going to just look at our NPC allies. For the most part, they have Liberator 600% to give me 12% of their stats, and then they're stacked up with Sage and Black Mage just to get more intellect based on the 800%. Excess affinity becomes intellect. And then on their gear, they have at least intellect and remove across each piece of gear. And then they had spirit because this is a build for other stuff. Now, Neon Red Mage isn't the highest intellect job. Sophia Sage and the Black Mage are. And then Ash as a Tyrant or Jet as a Ninja are second place after Sophia. But I want to level up Red Mage, so that's why Neon is here. I'm sorry, my Red Mage quests in the Rift, so that's why Neon is out. Summoner Master Points, we have Intellect. We have Summoner Job Affinity so that we can get even more Intellect. We have Lightbringer Duration because we want that Dimension Bringer to last a long time, and I don't feel like switching jobs or getting out of Summon form. And then we have Increase MP Limit Boost Rate. That's really important in order to sustain our Lightbringer or Dimension Bringer spam. And then I have Soul Shield Damage Dealt because I am going to be using Soul Shields through Cyclic Warrior 600%. Monk. We have Monk stacked up with HP and Monk at least to get to 400%, so they have even more HP. And then other things don't matter as much on this specific build because we're going to be living most of our life in Summoner form. So let's go into the Rift, and I'm going to try to keep this build under, I'm sorry, this video under 15 minutes because I recorded 33 minutes and mic was off, so that sucked. So I probably should test it before doing this, but we're going to go and trust that this is working. So monsters, we have we have the horse. I won't try to pronounce that because I messed up last time and it was pretty bad. So intellect, and then bonus if you have Black Mage and Mage leveled up, and the magic damage dealt doesn't hurt. The floating eye for intellect, bonus if you have Sage and Void Knight, and also the during Lightbringer damage dealt helps. The Behemoth for the Soul Shield MP recovery, it's a nice cushion to have. And then the damage dealt to bosses. We're not really using the combo ability stat bonus this round as much. Coral, just because I'm trying to get my monster quests up. And the Tyrant helps because that's just some extra intellect. And then I happen to have Dragoon leveled up, so I am using Dragoon in the Rift in order to get even more attack speed during Lightbringer, or Dimension Bringer. Now, before we go into a rift, we are going to try to look for what's the word called? We're going to end up using an accessory. I'm sorry, a mega ether. So we start with full MP, and then we go in, and we're going to try to do Lunatic, Sentinel, Seal of Blood. I might have to Dimension Bringer in order to get my MP back up on the second job, or you might just see me go straight into Focus. But I only do Focus for a little bit because the boss is going to be spawning. So, and then I'm also going to press D-pad left and right because the part I forgot to say is that my allies have Lionheart, and that Lightbringer duration on their gear helps their Lionheart keep them invincible longer. So we're going to go in, buff up. And that's kind of how it goes. Um, and yeah, we'll end up stopping this video in just a bit, but that is how the a summoner with the Exaflare, how it could go. But we are sacrificing a lot of damage, and we are sacrificing, yeah, we're sacrificing a lot of damage in order to get some survivability in here, and also some sustainability. So just kind of the heads up, if you don't destroy something in a single Exaflare, it's because we did sacrifice a lot of damage to make this build. Um, but if this is good enough, I'd say go for it. Anywho, hope that helps, and yeah, we'll see next time. So we're trying this in the world map, but this is not going to go as planned. Pardon me. Uh, and we might even forget Seal of Blood just because it's just too dangerous. Ooh, we already messed up, so... See, yeah, this is not as sustainable on the world map, but we'll keep going. Uh, just just for reference, the trials are up there. Let's do this, and then we'll wrap up in like 2 minutes here. Unless we die. I should have let all those hits play out. Then we have one more boss. Let's see what happens here, though. And hopefully we don't get completely mortalized. And that's kind of how this could go. I don't recommend doing the trials this high on the world map to begin with, but in case you do need to kind of play around with things in the Rift with enemy attack deplete buffs, your Dimension Bringer is going to be how you get out of the way of that, and then how you survive the first hit, and then your Sentinel is how you survive the second hit. But you will get broken, and if you're not like once you get broken, you can actually use a Dimension Bringer to reposition yourself a little safely. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I hope that helps.